Hey guys, and thanks for tuning into this episode of Bits and Tokens. If you watched our last video, it might be a little off with the audio. We fixed it, so we're back. This week, or today's episode technically, because I'll be talking a lot this week, you'll see me around. We're going to be talking about a few things that I found in the news. First and foremost, I wanted to bring up Ripple. Ripple's been doing great. They've been on the news like hot fire. However, if you are a Ripple investor, I don't know if you've been looking at the charts, but for some reason, there's not a lot of volume. It's been kind of still. I've been okay, you know. Despite all the positive news, there was a spike today, if you were looking. There was a spike, so that was good. Spikes are good. Good spikes. And we're going to assume that some of this news was due to the possible listing on Coinbase, maybe. So it's not a direct listing on Coinbase. You can't really go to coinbase.com and, just directly purchase XRP. However, what you can do is own it, and Coinbase will be your custodian. So if you don't know what a custodian is, basically Coinbase would have a custody service for all their current listing coins in addition to XRP, and you would not be the direct owner of the XRP. Coinbase would own the XRP, just kind of like what Fidelity is doing, where it minimizes the risk for their investors so that they're not directly owning the cryptocurrency, but the company owns the cryptocurrency and you just give them kind of your money and they just hold on to it for you. Just how, most stock works and everything else kind of works in the market world. So, it's cool. It is a way for adoption. The New York Department of Finance, had given them the okay earlier today to list all those coins in addition to XRP, which is good. It's great for adoptions, great for adopters, great for people who are curious about crypto and don't want to directly jump into it or just don't know how. So it will be listed on Coinbase custody, maybe Coinbase/custody.com. I don't know how they're doing it, but that's just a little bit of news in terms of XRP. There's also something that I saw about a WireX debit card that will also possibly be launching soon, and it will also be able to use XRP in buying, I guess, stuff directly with XRP. I think it's also listing Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and BTC, but those are some other, I guess, projects that XRP is like revolving around, besides, of course, your XRapid and all the in between. So XRP, we'll keep an eye on you. And if, you just happen to be around the market, just check out some XRP charts. Like I said, the volume was odd. It was just, I've never seen it so flat. I was going to throw up a chart up here earlier, but I had to make sure that the time was moving just to make sure that the chart was actually working. I was like, why is nothing moving? There was no orders going through. There was nothing. There was $400 worth of orders. And I was like, what? But yeah, for right now, XRP is kind of just, I guess, just taking a snooze, and there's really positive news. So we'll see how that affects the market in the next few days. Next, Coinbase. So besides Coinbase listing their custodian services, also Coinbase has partnered with Circle, and they're going to have the Center Consortium. So what that is that they are basically going to have a USDC, which is a US dollar stablecoin backed. It's asset backed, which would be the dollar. And they're partnering up with Circle to do it. And I think they're going to be running on a membership program. What I saw right now, they have 40 companies that are backing them, including exchanges and blockchain companies and financial industry companies and all that. So that's another project that they're working on. Coinbase also very, very popular, been in the news a lot. They're doing a lot. Definitely pretty good company. For the most part, with this Center Consortium, I'm going to also keep an eye on it. There's not too much out there as of yet. You guys can go on their website, which is, let me take a look here so I can give you that. Their website, oh, it's just center.io, and the center was with the E at the end, if you didn't know. And it shows you a technical roadmap, and it gives you just all the information on their project, what they're trying to do. Right now, that is their first listed stablecoin, which is the USDC. Hopefully, there's something that follows after. What I'm assuming that Coinbase is going to try to stick to for, most of the coins that they're going to do is they're probably going to do most of the, custodian services, because you can get a lot of these coins on exchanges and things like that. And Coinbase is kind of exchange-like, but then again, not really, because they only have like a certain amount, sort of, kind of. Personally, I don't really use Coinbase to store my Bitcoin on and trade it on there, because I don't know. Let's just go to Binance. There's just so much more options, But other than that, Coinbase hasn't done too much more this week besides those two projects. Something I found interesting. Scam came to my mind for some reason. So DJ Khaled and Floyd Mayweather, funny guys. So this is the number one reason why you make sure that you know who you're, I don't want to say getting in bed with, but getting in bed with, basically. So they had promoted, I think it was Centratech. They were a ICO that had launched, and they had a debit card. I'm assuming you could put cryptocurrencies or, use cryptocurrencies off the debit card and use it. And point of the story is it was an illegal ICO, and now Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled, long story short, are getting sued because they were celebrity promoters to that project. So it's one thing if, like you've seen in the past, we're kind of like really late in the game. If you're an investor and you're still, buying things just because there's a celebrity face on it, man, go do some homework. Honestly, go read, go study a project, because that's not great. So in essence of why, so it'd be one thing if they had shown, DJ Khaled and Floyd Mayweather, and maybe they're kind of just circulating, but for them themselves to physically post things on their page, that was a problem. So not only were they posting themselves with the debit card, and it was, again, a fake ICO, it was illegal. They also, Floyd specifically, Floyd Mayweather had mentioned that, hurry up and purchase these coins before they run out. Yeah, you're going to catch a lawsuit. So he caught a lawsuit, of course, because he was a celebrity endorser. So now they're facing legal action from investors because, of course, they want their money back. They felt misled. They felt scammed. And because they were celebrity endorsers, they got money. So why not? Why not get your money after some celebrity said, hey, you should buy this coin? Easy bait. So, chances are the company went up to them and they said, hey guys, do you want to promote our, cryptocurrency? And they offered them some money, paid them, but now they're stuck into this deal because the whole world saw them endorse this company's product. And because they did that without actually believing the product or even knowing what they had, now, they're catching lawsuits. So if you're a celebrity and you're watching, or if you're anybody and you're watching, make sure you endorse something that you believe in. Make sure it's actual, make sure it's legitimate, because you might catch a lawsuit. End of story. So next on the news, if I can get my mouse off this second screen, I believe we had some talks about Venezuela. Now, Venezuela has a really interesting story because, as a lot of you know, they have the Petrol Cryptocurrency, and right now they use the US dollar as their major currency. But because Mr. President Donald Trump had slapped on some sanctions on them because of their current political system, just to sum up, there's two sanctions separately, but it has to do with their political system and the way they run things, because they have something where they can bypass a party and then they can overrule something else, and it's just this whole mess. So basically, because they got sanctions and because, that got slapped on, they switched their currency from the USD to the euro. So instead of them getting paid for their oil, their crude oil in US dollar. They only accept euro now. They're switching over to the euro. They probably accept the Petrol Cryptocurrency as well. But that ended up happening because of the sanctions that were slapped onto them by Trump. And what I find interesting is that 95% of their currency that they get in is the US dollar. I don't want to say necessarily 95% of the business, but 95% of the consumers pay in the US dollar. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to play out. I mean, I understand the country, you know, has a huge sanction and they got a slap on the wrist from Trump. And now, you know, in order to avoid it, this is what they do to avoid it, kind of just to get around it. So, of course, they don't want to pay the sanctions because if they pay for it, it's going to cost them millions of dollars. They don't want to put up with it. So in order to go around it, guess what? We're not going to take US dollar anymore. Forget it. So they just dropped it. So we'll see how that plays out. That's a whole nother thing. They were supposed to use a Petrol Cryptocurrency, which I was hoping that they would use more. I was assuming that in order for this utility token to work, you're supposed to push it. So at least requiring companies to buy into the utility token itself and trade the fiat for the utility token and then to purchase the crude oil from Venezuela in the utility token would have been the correct way to push your cryptocurrency. But that doesn't seem to be the case because, again, they're switching their main currency from the US dollar to the euro. So, I mean, the Petrol Cryptocurrency, I don't want to say it's a flop, but the way that they're pushing it right now as a utility token is not the best because they're not using it as a main asset. They're using it as secondary to switch from the US dollar to the euro. Venezuela, I don't think that's a good idea. They should have just made their vendors paying Petro. That would have made sense because that would increase the value of the coin. That would have guaranteed volume because they have to use the coin now to even purchase the oil. And that would just been guaranteed sales. And because their current currency is devalued at 95%, that would have, you know, pushed their economy, pushed their currency, pushed the petro. It would have just made that coin worthwhile. So, I mean, I hope President Maduro, they haven't officially announced, you know, anything yet, but things have been hinting in the government because they've been switching a few things around and because they're not taking, you know, the USD anymore. Some officials had told I think it was Bloomberg that they had told this information, but not the best. So next in the news, I believe I have Trade.io. I'm really sad my little cruiser's not getting off my second screen, so I can't like flip the little letters here. Oh, it did. Thank God. Oh, I just talked about Venezuela. Never mind. Okay, well, Trade.io. So Trade.io. Now they got hacked, if you didn't hear, and they lost about 50 million, I think, of their coin. They lost about 50 million, which equals out to about 7.5 million in USD, I believe it was. How did they get hacked? Apparently, it was a cold hardware wallet hack somehow, some way, shape, or form. And then the money got stolen, and people are questioning. Nobody knows where it is. They're still investigating into it. They're looking into it. There's some news on it, not too much. That's unfortunate. I think you guys need to update your security. To be missing $7.5 million. You know what I can do with $7.5 million? I'll tell you. I can buy a house, a car. I can invest it more and more and more. That's a lot of money, to be honest. So for them to not have security up to par to control this is kind of like, reminds me of the John McAfee hack, where he said, hey, I have a super secure wallet. Next thing you know, wallet's hacked. Not as secure as you thought, huh? So I definitely think this is one of the issues right now on blockchain. There's certain things, this being one of them, that needs to be updated in terms of security. I don't want to say it's kind of late in the game to be hacked because, of course, blockchain and crypto in general, where it's in its early adoption stages. However, these are issues that people are already afraid of. So now to be constantly feeding into the stigma is now also kind of just like proving the outsourcing point of, hey, maybe blockchain is not secure as we thought. Not the best face you want to see when you're trying to get people to adopt the concept of blockchain. I was talking to some lady today. I was out with one of the coworkers and we were trying to convince her to invest into Bitcoin. And her response was, well, the media says that it's not very stable and some other things in between, and that's very volatile, and this, and the third. And something interesting enough is that according to analysts, Bitcoin is less volatile than, I think it was tech stocks. It was, if I'm not mistaken. So tech stocks right now have a higher volatility rate than Bitcoin. Yes, Wall Street, you're a little more dangerous than cryptocurrency, according to top analysts. So this was a report kind of just drawn, and basically what it was saying is that the way that they did it is that they took the cryptocurrency stocks in a 20-day historical volatility rate and compared it to stocks like Netflix. They compared it to Amazon and other tech stocks, and it turned out that Bitcoin's volatility rate was at about a 29.3% versus those stocks were at a 31.5%. So just based off numbers, and numbers say a lot, right now a tech stock is more volatile than Bitcoin stock. Now that might be for a few reasons. Right now, the market's low. It's not in its top notch that it's been as we've seen in the past. The market also has, even on the stock side, it's been also kind of laggy. And that's just how the market works. Sometimes if there's a lot of, high range volatility, it kind of just adjusts and it fixes itself. You will catch those little pops here and there that you've seen, like when somebody moves a ridiculous amount of money from one wallet and, buys out or buys in. And then next thing you know, Bitcoin shot from like 6.6 to 8.1 almost out of nowhere. And that happens. And then what happens after that is that the market just self-adjusts, because it happens, it pops, and then it just drops back down immediately, which is usually what you see. And because the market kind of adjusts, same thing happens on the stock market. But overall, between those days and those periods of times that they were measuring it, the volatility rates just didn't necessarily go over our current crypto rate that we see with Bitcoin. Now, I can't say the same thing for, your little, I don't want to say poop coins, but poopy coins. Those tend to be more volatile only because you can pump them easier. And most of the cryptocurrencies you see kind of relate to Bitcoin, like actual cryptocurrency companies like XRP, EOS, all those. They kind of back Bitcoin, and you can kind of see similar patterns of how it, comes out. Stable coins, it would be a completely different story. You can be, not stable coins, sorry. Poopy coins is a completely different story. You can see a poopy coin doing great. And it's only because it's so cheap and you can buy so many, it's so easy to pump. So people kind of just, make money off of them. But not the best thing. Last thing I'm going to share with you guys is something that happened earlier in the week. It was with Civil. If you guys heard of them, they were an exchange that had opened up, and they did their ICO. They collected everyone's money. Everything was great. And then right at the end, they're like, hey guys, sorry, actually we can't do anything. We got to give all your money back, because if not, we're going to jail. So how did that happen? So essentially, they just weren't set up. They didn't have their rules and regulations in place. They didn't have they didn't really follow some of the laws. Some of the things were out of line. And what happens with these ICOs is that they kind of set up and they say they're going to do things before they actually figure out how to do it, which is a problem. And what ends up happening is that they thought, let's say that they needed $25 million, for instance. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to have our website. We're going to have our developers. We're going to have everything. Everything's going to be fine. We have enough money to pay for everything. And then as soon as, let's say, a lawyer or somebody who does developing hears a word Bitcoin, blockchain, or cryptocurrency thrown into the mix, out of nowhere, their rates just spiked up, like literally from $100,000 to $1 million, just like that. And the next thing you know, your $25 million seems like 25 cents. I've seen it before. I always urge companies to make sure that they know what they're doing in sense of how much your actual cost is. Find people in the industry that are already established in the industry. Sometimes they are your best help, and sometimes they're your worst enemy. Because for some reason, people who are bigger within the community already, for example, like Cointelegraph, somebody told me that we're trying to charge them like $80,000 to write a story. Like, that's ridiculous. $80,000 just to publish one story. Like, this is how much these companies are paying just to get out there. And if you were to like advertise anywhere else, it would be a significantly less amount of cost, like a significantly less amount of cost. Any other, you know, genre, but because it's specifically blockchain or Bitcoin, people hear dollar signs. And that's the issue. But I mean, you need to know what you're running into when you're, you know, starting up your own company, when you're starting up an ICO, because not only can you run into legal issues because the government's already, you know, really fringicky around that topic, but you can also end up like this where you have to literally just shut your whole project down and say, hey, sorry guys, we tried, and give people their money back. And nobody wants that. It kind of just, you know, besides it leaving a bad taste in your mouth, it also kind of just makes people think like, wow, is, you know, blockchain even worth it anymore? And it kind of just turns them away. But, you know, especially for newer investors, maybe if the person was new, they probably felt worse than somebody who already has been in the game and, you know, this, time, and the third. But that's about it. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll keep watching charts. Hopefully Ripple maybe decides to wake up. I'll take a look at it. But if I see anything, I'll tune in with you guys next time. Thanks for watching Bits and Tokens. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the video. I'll see you guys. Peace out. Oh man, my mouse is stuck. Okay, I'm still here until I figure out how to get my mouse unstuck. Okay, I got it. Okay, now I'm leaving. Bye guys.